Hello, I'm Tony Hardwick. I'm the training manager at Innon. I know I'm a little bit late to the party, but I'm going to do a quick rundown of what's been added in Niagara 4.15. So we've got HTML5 PX Editor, HTML5 Relationship Manager. Let's have a look at those. PX Editor is a big one. I'm excited to show you that one. So what I can do is I can go to my browser, type in the localhost. There we go. Goes all through the browser. Log into that. Make myself a new folder wherever. Fan coils. Right click on fan coils, views. We've got a new view. And we can make ourselves a nice blank view. This is all in the browser, but we've got a editable graphic. Right click, new label. And on. I can add in, so let's say I want to add my fan coil units. Shift works there, shift select. Drag that onto the page. There we go. You can stick them on as bound labels. I can go for from palette. Let's add in a palette. Let's go for the kit PXN4 SVG everyone loves. We've got the ability to preview them. So that works in the browser. I can use the sidebar here to bring up the palettes as usual, put in some ductwork. There we go. Should be able to put these all in a line. So all the usual tools are there. Could be more beautiful, but you can see it's got all of the tools that you expect. Yeah, really great new feature. We got the HTML5 Relation Manager. If I go and look at one of my fan core units, views, Relation Manager, there we go. Looks incredibly busy. You can show implied or not show implied. Those are the automatic tags. That's quite nice because this gives you access to things that are relations that you might not know about. So we've got a whole load of device references that go in automatically to tell us that the fan speed is attached to this fan coil, so it's coming into the fan coil. We've got child point relationships, so those are the automatic Niagara relationships. These are really useful for doing hierarchies because you can put a device in and then you can list all of the points regardless of how deep they are in point folders and so on, and you can add in new relationships from this list. It wobbles, because why wouldn't it? Yeah, not a bad addition. We've got Jace 9000 Wi-Fi support, and that'll be useful for those of you who are using that. Access control badge printing. I've not had a chance to play with that yet, but I assume that's to put driver updates. A big one that people didn't know. This was actually in a 14 as well, from memory, but could be wrong. Modbus update, that's a big one. They've added in the ability to do all sorts of 64-bit registers. So if I click new here, go for a numeric point. This will be useful for people who've dealt with big electric meters or anything that records big values. So we now have, under numeric point types, we've got a whole load of signed and unsigned 64-bit and 48-bit registers. So double type would be the 64-bit float. That's now something that's supported natively without you having to do any faffing about with it. Quite a big thing for Tridium. They're now supporting BACnet revision 18. I should imagine it'll be sent to BTL soon, but supporting revision 18 is obviously a useful thing for more modern BACnet devices. We've now got Fox over WebSocket. Probably seen that if you're using 4.15 when you make a Niagara network connection. One of the properties for adding a Niagara network device now is that it'll talk about using the WebSocket if Fox or FoxS fails. The benefit of this is that Niagara should now work better when you're connecting to devices over the internet. If you've got a firewall that won't let the Fox port open up, then you can fall back to using the web server or the web server ports in order to connect to the station. It acts brilliantly as a fallback in all sorts of situations where the typical 4911 isn't allowed by your IT or by your router. There's a Niagara access driver. Can't talk to anything that's OSDP verified. I've not had a chance to play with this yet. We got some additional kit control objects. These were part of an ASHRAE standard. We've got NAND and NOR. Big ones for any logic control. It's useful to have them as single components. We've got a limiter. It's built into the loop where they would automatically limit to 0 and 100, but having a standalone component is useful for that. Derivative and arctangent. I'm sure if you use those, you know what they do. I'm unfortunately not smart enough. Hysteresis, so that's very, very similar to the Tstat. Let's have a look at that. So works very similar to the Tstat. Whereas the Tstat, you've got a control variable and a set point, and you set up a differential around them. The hysteresis module does a very similar thing, where it takes an input, but you actually set the high and the low. So rather than, let's say, going for 21 degrees and 1 degree differential, you could put in specifically 20 degrees to 22 degrees, and it saves you having to do any mental math. So overlaps a lot with the Tstat, does the same thing, but you configure them differently. We've got PKI authentication for the browser. That's going to be useful for eating requirements on specs. We've got user login history. At first I saw this and I thought that don't we already have that? But this actually allows people to see their own login history. They can see if their account has been used, their own account has been used without needing to see everyone's. Interesting change to the passwords for users. So the user passwords are now being encrypted, salted, and hashed, getting all sorts of treatment. But that means that you will need a passphrase now to unlock the user accounts. Obviously, the upgrades to BACnet. Certification testing coming soon. Let's clarify that. We've also got SecureConnect. That was brought in an earlier revision. But if you don't know about that, that allows you to tunnel a direct connection rather than using BACnet standard UDP connections, which should work better across routing. B-network address translation, I've not tried that specifically, but it's designed to make it easier to connect two devices in a secure way over the internet, but best practice is not to. And we've got the update build cadence, which I assume is their way of saying when they're going to release the updates. I have seen U2 about. I don't know if that's definitely released. This suggests that it isn't released yet, but all the data's there for you. Obviously, this is going to be a long-term an LTS release, scheduled to go end of life Q4 2028. That's probably about it for 4.15. A few subtle changes, good quality of life stuff. I'm a big fan of the Modbus improvement, and I'll speak to you guys next time.